Have you ever really stopped to look at a light bulb and think about what's actually going on in there? Well, today we're going to do just that. We're peeling back the glass on this super common object to uncover a truly brilliant piece of engineering. We're diving deep into a US patent that reveals how designers took that classic familiar shape and just packed it with some seriously futuristic tech. But yeah, before we get to the cool solution, we've got to ask the big question. Why was it so hard to perfect the light bulb in the first place? I mean, think about it. We've had electric light for, what, over 100 years? But getting one that's efficient, lasts forever, and doesn't look weird? That's been a real headache for engineers for a long, long time. So, to really get why this new design is so smart, we have to look back at the problems that have been bugging lighting for ages. Let's get into what I'm calling the light bulb problem. Okay, so this really lays out the two big headaches engineers were dealing with. On one side, you've got the classic incandescent bulb. Yeah, we all love that warm, cozy glow, right? But the thing is, they're just terribly inefficient. Most of the power they use just turns into heat, not light, and they burn out after maybe 1,000 hours. Then, on the other side, you've got the early LEDs. They fixed the efficiency problem for sure, but they brought a whole new set of issues. They needed these big, clunky heat sinks to keep from melting, and the light they gave off was kind of harsh and splotchy. That's because all the little light sources were crammed together, and their light paths would just get in each other's way.
All right, so how in the world do you fix all of that at the same time? Well, this is where our patent comes in, US Patent 1063117. It's a classic, reimagined. We're going to dissect how this one elegant design finally cracked the code.
And here it is. This is the first stroke of genius, right here. I mean, just look at it. At first glance, it looks exactly like the classic light bulb we've known forever. It's that familiar shape, it screws into all our old lamps, it's just comfortable. But don't let that fool you. That simple glass shell is hiding a completely revolutionary new engine inside. Okay, time to pop the hood. This exploded view from the patent shows you the beautiful, complex machinery hiding in plain sight. So while the outside is totally familiar, the inside is, well, it's a whole different ballgame. Let's break down the key parts that make this thing tick. It all boils down to three really crucial parts. First up, you see that glass column in the middle? That's the hollow stem. Think of it like the backbone holding everything together. Second, and this part is the real secret to its amazing light, is the conical LED array. See how those LED filaments are arranged in a cone shape? That's not just for looks. It lets them throw light in every direction, a full 360 degrees. And just like that, you've solved that whole splotchy light problem from the old LEDs. And finally, part three, all the complicated electronics, the power supply and all that, it's all tucked away neatly inside the base, totally hidden. Okay, but wait a second. If all the electronics are hidden away and there aren't any of those ugly plastic fins on the outside, how does this thing handle heat? Because heat is the #1 enemy of LEDs. Well, that brings us to the really clever part, the secret to staying cool. The answer's actually pretty simple. It's a basic physics principle called thermal convection. We all learn this in school, right? Hot air rises, cooler sinks. When you heat up a gas, it gets less dense and floats up, and the cooler, heavier gas rushes in to take its place. This creates a little current that's constantly moving heat around. And here's the genius part. The designers of this bulb basically turned the entire glass bulb itself into a tiny, sophisticated cooling engine using that exact idea. So how'd they pull it off? It's a two-part trick. First, the inside of the bulb isn't a vacuum. It's actually filled with a special gas, like helium or a mix with nitrogen, that's really, really good at conducting heat. This gas literally grabs the heat off the LED filaments and carries it away to the outer glass shell, where it can just fade away. Pretty smart, right? But that's not all. Second, the little LED chips are mounted on these special substrates made of graphite or ceramic. You can think of them like tiny little heat magnets, just pulling the warmth directly away from the LEDs so they never get a chance to overheat. It's an invisible, silent cooling system. Okay, so let's recap. We've got a classic look, a super smart internal design, and this amazing invisible cooling system. But what does all that engineering actually get you in the real world? Well, let's talk about the performance and the payoff. First up, the big one, lifespan. This bulb is rated for an incredible 30,000 hours. Let me put that in perspective for you. If you had this light on for 8 hours a day, every single day, it would last for more than 10 years. That is just mind-blowing compared to an old bulb where you'd be lucky to get a few months. It's a total game changer for how often you even have to think about buying a light bulb. And then there's the efficiency, which is honestly just as wild.
It gives you the same amount of light as a traditional 60-watt bulb, but it only uses 5 watts to do it. That is a massive energy saving. We're talking over 90% less juice. You are literally going to see that on your electricity bill. It's a huge win for your wallet and, of course, a huge win for the planet.
And this chart really just drives the point home, doesn't it? Look at that. On the left, that tiny little sliver, that's the 1,000 hours you get from a standard old bulb. And on the right, that absolute skyscraper of a bar is the 30,000 hours you get from this thing. I mean, you would burn through 30 of the old bulbs in the time it takes for just one of these to give out. It's not even a fair fight. So really, at the end of the day, what this patent pulls off is kind of the holy grail of lighting design. It's the best of both worlds. For so long, you had to make a choice, right? Did you want the beautiful, classic look of an Edison bulb, or did you want the crazy efficiency of a modern LED? Well, this invention says, hey, you don't have to choose anymore. This is classic form, meaning futuristic function, all in one package. And, that just leaves me with one last thought. This entire engineering marvel we've been talking about, it's hidden inside one of the most boring, everyday objects in our homes. And it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other simple things that we use every day are hiding these incredible innovations just waiting for us to take a closer look?